PTG, Hyper G, and Lucky Sixes bring to you another battle report.
Howdy ho!
Sailors, campers, troopers,
All of those. And wargamers.
yes, and wargamers. Yes, I'm sure there's one or two of them watching.
At least I would
Yeah,
suspect. And here we are to deliver on more bat reps from the team tournament last week now.
yeah,
It was good. Over in Cardiff, we've done one bat rep from your point of view, from your team.
yeah.
With you being Captain Fantastic and leading them on to
Showing the
victory.
way.
Yeah.
Showing the way. We were marching for victory, you could say.
Absolutely. In a very apt tournament, I was merely a grunt, a minion, as part of Team England A. We were,
Yes.
and first up, we were against Team England 1, which
Wow.
the shouts of "fix" from the crowd were heard.
They were.
But yeah, we didn't. I was thinking we could just have games before the tournament, get a lie-in. Not have to rush there, but not to be, unfortunately. So we did it in real time, and my vampires were up against Darren's Vermin swarm. So just a bit of a background of the team. We had me on vampires, Tanker on Undying Dynasties, Hugh on his no magic ogre kingdoms, which is really cool, and Wes on warriors. Which he's been doing for a while as well. So knightly warriors though, so don't worry for fans of the Cavalier's Tale. He's still cavaliering, at least just in a different form. A Chaos Cavalier he'll be called, I'm sure. On the other team, Darren on Vermin Swarms, who I was playing. We had Jake on ID, who's been a staple at Team England for a while. Another staple, Josh on Sylvan Elves. And then to round off the team, we had Luke Trenter on Beast Herds, going back to his Beast, playing them for the whole year as well. So, yeah, solid enough team to start off with. I did say in the last video, we sort of all knew each other's lists quite well. We weren't expecting big swings either way, because we sort of obviously know the ins and outs of everything by now. But having said that, I did have a good matchup here. So I had sort of like a 12 predicted against Vermin because of if I can get the charge, and I'll go into it in a bit on some of his units, then I should have the advantage. But we will see. My list, which probably isn't a surprise by now. Other people might have seen it before in the bat rep we did a few weeks ago, for example. But just to go over it, we've got two Nosferatu Supreme Leash Masters, both of the Courtier version, one General, one BSB. The BSB has a Legion standard to go in the Skeleton unit, for double Legion standard for a Combat Res 7 in that unit, which is nice. Destiny's cool, and paired weapons. The General has, so that gives him a 4-up, 4-up. The General has a 2-up, 5-up with different items. And some paired weapons as well. So both rocking 5 strength 5 attacks, agility 5 or 6, I think 6, and offensive 7. So pretty good stats in there. Generally speaking, they can go in the skeletons, but that obviously can change with the Court of the Damned as well. So they're kind of like a big old bus bunker, and the Court of the Damned obviously gives them minus agility and minus weapon skill as well, so it just increases those stats even further, which is really nice.
You're essentially just a court with 2 vampires either side and a whole load of skeletons who just tank along.
Absolutely. They're literally just there because they bought the ticket. Ghouls and 2 units of dire wolves to round off core as a bit of chaff. A big brick of ghasts with my other vampire courtier, who's got binding scroll and the Strigoi Bestial Walk great weapon. He has got evocation, so he can roll do rerolls hit, but generally speaking is a heal because heal's broken. It's amazing. And then we've got 9 wraiths for even more magic. 4 phantom hosts as a bit of a kind of chaff, kind of tar pit type thing.
They're kind of like the chaff that sometimes just can't be dealt with.
Yeah, they're a weird unit actually, and something that I've enjoyed using, but tricky to use. And then the Vampire Knights, which we all know and love, who are pretty good, although they are budget Vampire Knights in this regard. At this point, but they're good nonetheless. Darren, Vermin Swarms. This was before. Again,
they got in terms of update as well, didn't they?
They got just an update just straight ahead. Yeah, so this is a one version before, I guess. 3 Duskblade Assassins, a big Bell, Swarm Priest, another smaller Adept Book for Thaumaturgy, Holy Triumphant, Vermin Senator General with a Binding Scroll, then the House Prefect with a Deep Fire Thrower as well to go along with the 3 experimental teams, which were being flaming and being good against ranked up units. Those were a decent threat against me. 3 Duskblade Assassins, like I said, that go in the could go anywhere, but against me for sure. They're likely to be coming up against the Black Fur Veterans, Blood Fur Praetorians, which are the lightning reflexes guys with the House Prefect in. Then you've got in core Black Fur Veterans with halberds. I think because they're Black Furs, they're halberds, and then 2 Legionnaires units in there as well. So blocks, like so many rats, man. Then 2 cannons in the mouse rifles.
Gotta love that name. Gotta love that.
Yeah. 2 chaffy shooter units in the Ignifiers and the Shadowfur Stalkers, and then the Arena Beast to round it off. So yeah, I mean the shooting could do a little bit. Not too fussed about the cannons unless it kills a court. I mean that could happen as well. But otherwise it's not too bad. And I've got a bit of range to try and get all the little points here and there. So was aiming for a 12 if I played it right, I thought.
Is the court a 5-up Aegis or a 4-up Aegis?
5-up Aegis to start.
Yeah, so cannons are a threat then.
Yeah, absolutely. Marching columns in King of the Hill. And this was our deployment. This is actually my deployment and his first turn. One of the things I didn't want to do was take ages and ages and ages, but actually it meant I just forgot about taking pictures at the start. So this is after his turn 1. And as you can see, he's done some damage to the dogs as well. But basically, left to right, on my point of view, I got my Vampire Knights and Ghouls. He dropped for first, so they were opposite the Arena Beast and Mouse Rifle, which I was quite pleased with. I thought if I could get those points and keep mine safe, happy days, really. Got the dogs who were vanguarded with the Wraiths on the wall. The wall was my objective I had to keep safe.
Wow, nice.
So that was nice. I've got 2 scoring units there, and really it's his bunker and the halberdiers coming for it. So if I can keep them away, that would be good. The big unit with the vampires and the court, basically looking either side of that, but gunning for the Praetorians, the blue unit of rats, really. If I can get the charge, it doesn't matter with the assassins. I actually go first. So if he puts them up against any of the vampires, I should be able to kill at least 1, possibly 2 of those assassins as well. So that's my aim, really, is to get the charge on the Praetorians. I've got my Spirit Host behind the house because I can just walk through it. Some dogs and the ghasts to anchor his basically his right side of more Legionnaires and the rifle on the hill, which was his objective to keep safe as well. The map's a bit odd because it looks like 3 impassables, but we chose to use the one on that wasn't a house as a ruins rather than that, just so that it wasn't the craziest game ever of
impossible
sit in that middle bit. Yeah, so there was that as well. He's got a few tunnel markers as well. One's just the other side. You can't see it on this. Just the other side of the ruins, and one in between the ghasts and the Praetorians. So that's where the Shadowfair Stalkers will come out of. One of those, I think. But yeah, so this is after his turn. He's moved up. He's shot the dogs as well. And this is just a close-up of some dead dogs, or even more dead than they were before.
Yeah.
But crucially, they're alive. So in my turn, oh yeah, he also puts random movement on this unit of dogs,
Will of the
which
Wisps.
which is a very interesting sort of thing. So I pushed him this way towards the arena beast and thought, well, okay, they can chaff him. And if the arena beast charges, he just dies. To my counter charges there. So didn't mind that so much. I didn't mind losing dogs for that. And over here, they're actually pretty safe against his other shooting. So yeah. Moved up the wraiths and the ghouls and the vampire knights just to sort of zone areas. Really. Couldn't quite. I wasn't 24 inches with my wraiths, so I couldn't quite look to magic move them properly. So they were just sort of like getting in position. Everything else sort of shuffles on the right hand side, not going too early, too soon, because that's kind of my MO at the minute. I think I'm doing a bit too much outside of in the practice. I'm getting a bit mixed results, so I'm trying to be a bit more cautious, especially on a team environment.
No, I'm not in support of this.
In Magic, I get Pentagram and Breath Corruption off, but only do 5 out of 8. So I was like, just if I'd have just killed them, it would have been points and no chaff. Yeah. But hey ho. And onto his turn, he moves his halberdiers up towards the center, towards the flank of my big unit, which I do have to be careful of. Awesome. He, in his turn, did do a bunch of skeleton wounds as well. As you can see, it's been downed somewhat. But he did do 2 wounds to his flamers as well, flaming unit. So there's that. Mishap. Yeah, with a couple of mishaps actually.
Okay.
Didn't do Trial of Terror this time around, so there you go.
No-brainer, but I'm kept up to date with their changes. So.
Well, yeah, I think he didn't do it first time round because it was too far away or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise quite tentative on the right. He actually moved his ignifiers away, and the stalkers come up. He didn't really want them to come up, but they come up now, and he's just moved up there to try and kill some dogs.
Okay.
The ignifiers. Oh yeah, this was the second time actually, and they didn't trial and terror again. But look how you're just obliterating this bus of a unit, which does somewhat make me not want to charge the Praetorians at this point. So. And he gets smite off as well.
You're not combat res 6. Oh, you suppose you are still.
I still am at the minute, but obviously he gets attacks and will go as well. So there's we got 3 heals. Don't worry about it too much, but I've got to be careful.
I wasn't worried. No one's ever worried.
He does kill the dogs, unfortunately for me. So there is a bit of chaff there, but I do have the Spirit Host there as well, so that's not too bad. I charge with the Spirit Host into his thing, thinking that I could overrun to chaff his Praetorians, which is the goal, so that I can get a charge on him, essentially. He flees, but only flees 7. And I actually end up catching him, and so that's points, and panicking his 3 ignifiers. And I'm thinking, well, now they're out of range of everything. They might go off the board as well. So that was a really, really good charge phase with my Spirit Host, who end up chaffing the Praetorians anyway. So they do best of all 3 worlds, really, in my eyes. So I'm hoping it's maybe 400 points to me if the ignifiers do go off. And I'm kind of keeping the Praetorians back. So that's really nice. Yeah, otherwise, I get the wraiths in the flank. If I move us down here, wraiths in the flank of the halberdier unit. Do have to be careful that they don't just go for the objective. I am wary of that, but the wraiths do have magic move, and I've got raised dead, so I'm pretty sure at some point I can stop them getting onto it. But I do need to be careful, and that is in my mindset. My dogs go up to chaff the arena beast so that he can only charge the ghouls. He can't charge the vampire knights. I don't mind if he goes into the ghouls because I think the ghouls might poison him off anyway. But if not, he'll have some vampire knights in the side. So I don't really need the chaff. The chaff is just made there so that he can't direct charge my vampire knights, really.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, I kind of just move forward so that it's a double 6 charge with the halberdiers into my flank. And I'm facing the... I know, yeah. I'm facing the Praetorians as well, so that when they do that charge into the Spirit Host, they're going to be well close to me. I get an Arise off, and I also get Pentagram to kill 3 wounds worth on the Mouse Rifle, so there's only 1 left. No, not the Mouse Rifle, the Flamethrower.
Experimental weapon team, yeah.
So that's cool. So I get a bunch of skeletons back. Over here, he charges with both. So just to make sure that he doesn't get held up by like 1, because they don't have any magical attacks, so they do have to be careful they don't get stuck on them, which was really interesting for me to see that really. But he does, as you can see on the right side, rally with his ignifiers, and currently I'm not even getting half points because of that one guy. So I'm like,
what's what Vermin swarms do?
150 points, but oh well. He moves his arena beast back more towards the center. He's moving his halberdiers up, like so, towards the ghouls. So that I've got to be careful of that. Although he has moved his arena beast, so I can just turn to face. His Flamethrower comes into the flank of my big bus, who have started getting some skeletons back. And that's about it for movement, really.
He's going for your obstacle, isn't he? As the one he wants to capture.
Yes, so he's going for this. But obviously he doesn't want to go... I moved like so that he couldn't march out of my line of sight with the ghouls, which means if he went for it, I'd be getting an easy flank charge.
Oh, of course, it's a ruins. Oh, yeah.
Because it's a ruins, yes. Yeah.
You did say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah, massively. So it was there was a bit of a stalemate in that middle bit, but yeah, we will see. This is a picture of them rallying, those little rat bastards. And I think an overview of the board, because that's what it is.
I love that you got all your skeletons hiding in the building. Like, we're ready to
that's where they died. They flamed to there.
Yeah.
He gets a smite off with -1 strength, which actually, because he did the smaller version, always wants to choose res because of the shooting, but got -1 strength off in anticipation for the charge, although with a lot of my strength 5 it doesn't really matter because they're only res 2. Res 2 rats, so there's that.
Sometimes you just got to go for smite and hope to get the one you want.
Yeah. Over here, the spirit hosts die, and we move forwards into my turn magic. Again, with time on the thing, things happen. So the spirit hosts die. Over here, he reforms so that both are in the front, but it is an auto charge for my ghasts and my skeletons.
Right.
To get into his Praetorians, which obviously is terrible for him. So
I mean, we are missing a unit of Praetorians in this picture, so...
So he flees.
Oh, right, okay.
Which caught me a little bit surprised, because I didn't think he would flee. I didn't see any reason.
It's a big unit to flee,
yeah. So I charge with both I redirect into the other legionnaires, who are just the strength 3 spear guys, and unfortunately do not get in with my big unit. And that's unfortunate because that now means that they'll be steadfast. But they are steadfast. Oh no, that I'm not. Yeah, and re-rollable, I think. So I was gutted that I couldn't get them in, but it was a 9, I think, for them to get in, and an auto with the gas. And the gas aren't going to die, so it's not too much of a problem from my point of view. So if I fail charge with the skeletons, and I have to move the wraiths. here over by the to Chaffee's bunker in order to stop any silly flank charges that I don't want.
Yeah, because I suppose the experimental weapon team could have charged as well.
Yeah, which he would have just to get him out of the way, So I don't want any silly things happening.
No.
So this is very cautious, but I'm hoping to get the Legionnaire unit over turns and then have one more turn to push up with my unit here, and hopefully get his Praetorians as well. So and that gas unit scoring, and that's King of the Hill. So hoping I can chew through that quickly. My dogs actually go into his instead of continue the chaff game, go into his mouse rifle and kill it.
Well done, dogs. That's the first time they've ever killed anything.
And they're still alive at the minute, so
they're probably just standing around in confusion.
Yeah, it was. I was a bit confused actually that happened at all, but yeah, no.
Well, I suppose there are only rats on the mouse.
Yeah, they are. So, yeah. I was actually wounded on 2s when I charged in, so that was funny. No, it was 4s because of War Machine. But yeah. Over here, I do a bunch of wounds, but they hold on steadfast.
I was going to say, did the Praetorians rally?
And then on his next turn, the Praetorians rallied. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was a big roll. It was a 9 rerollable, I think. So, it could have, maybe an 8 rerollable, actually. So, it could have gone wrong.
It depends where his BSB is. Was his BSB in that unit?
Yeah, BSB and General are in the Bell unit.
In the bunker.
So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was sweaty times for the rats. But otherwise, they rally, and it's not too bad for them from that point of view. Over here, it goes in to my Wraiths.
Yep.
After combat and after his turn, I mean, I just continue doing a bunch, and they are just, and I mean just, within BSB range, and they needed it, but hold on their steadfast by 2 models. Just like I was like, if I'd have got him now because it's my turn next.
You didn't forget your stomp, did you?
I did not. I didn't forget anything, mate. I was reaching around for anything else I could have. Did they have breath weapons and all that jazz?
Yeah.
But yes, so this would have been great if it done it this turn, and I only needed to do 2 more wounds to do it over the course of the 2 rounds. So yeah, it was. But it is what it is, and I'm thinking now that I'll get rid of them. There might be a panic, and we'll see what happens in my next turn. Over here, he moved up, and I charged in because I wanted to see how this went. Actually, he does have ranks. Obviously, there's not too much in the way of my offensive game against them, but I think it will just be a grind, and I'm pretty sure that will stop them getting the objective. So I think even if I lost the ghouls for no return, I would still be up by 1 TP because they didn't get the objective. Then that's what I was thinking really there.
Right, I'm with you.
And best case scenario, he doesn't get me, I don't get him, and nothing happens, So over here, don't worry about the Vampire Knights. They just couldn't.
I was getting worried.
Yeah.
What's going on here? 5 Vampire Knights dead.
They simply couldn't balance on the ruins. So I chaff with my dogs, and I get ready for a counter charge, and that's going to look good as well.
It almost looks as though Darren's put his arena beast into the position where they were chaffed. So it doesn't look like the dogs have moved, but I'm
they just moved
chaff myself.
Backwards. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how the rest of the board looks.
All your magic spells is dirty.
There's so many. I've got 14 spells. It's ridiculous. I move up so that I'm out of line of sight of his bell unit, and I can magic and stuff to help my 2 units over here. Yeah. I get Whispers of the Veil off on them. I mean, Res 1 is great, but it's more for the rally, for the leadership for future combats. And this is unfortunately the last picture.
Oh,
because we didn't realise that we were coming to time, and we had 10 minutes at this point, and it was the start of his turn 5. I was a bit frustrated actually that it didn't get to the end point because I feel like I was up anyway. and we were doing all right. And it wasn't anyone's fault or anything. I think we didn't get started for half an hour because of pairings and things like that. So it's just a mixture of things. And yeah, we didn't get to. It was only at bottom of turn 4, and that never happens to me. So I was a bit surprised that we got to that point. But this is what it ended. Probably, there's a lot of speculation at this point. However, it is the bottom of 4, and he hasn't brought his assassins out.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a massive positive because I get 375 points just because. And Darren was like, "Oh man, that's good." I was like, "Yeah, sorry, man."
He could have put them in the bell unit just to get them on, right? Because the Praetorians had rallied. In that last turn, hadn't they? So.
Yeah. So we couldn't have put them in there. Interestingly. But yeah, so a lot of speculation for what was going to happen. I think the dice would have played a massive part in what was going to happen. Over the course of the game as well, I should say, I didn't put it in this, but a couple of my magic did 3 wounds to the arena beast, I believe.
Right, okay.
I think so. Anyway, I don't know what.
There's 3 green tokens near it.
Yeah, or it's DTs or something like that. I'm not sure.
Not from a field.
But yeah. But anyway, so over there, I probably clean up the arena beast because I've got chaff. And worst case scenario, nothing happens because he doesn't take the charge, so that I can't charge him.
Yeah.
So there's that. The ghouls actually lost way more than I thought they were going to. Because of static res, which was interesting. So, I mean, this was after 1 turn of combat, where I lost 7 and lost by 7. So I actually lost 14. So I would have gone then deeper. You
needed a raise, really, didn't you? To keep
but yeah, I would have needed a raise on my next turn, which is very interesting. It's his turn next as well, so I would have taken even more wounds, I guess. But because we stopped there, that worked out in my favour totally. So we were kind of looking at it, right.
If he'd have beat you in his turn, and you hadn't have got a raise in your turn, and died, then you could have used his turn 6 to get on the objective potentially.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of if, buts, and maybes there.
There is a lot, and that's, I think, that frustrated me as well because I wanted to at least see what happened in the next ones. I think I get the arena beast. I think he gets the ghouls, which kind of peters out. Over on this right side, really, is where the big thing happens because it's the objective as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he really wants to go into my ghasts, and I only say that because he's only wounded me on 4s. He's hitting me on 3s, wounded me on 4s, and I have a 5-up save. And I don't think he does enough wounds to actually pop me because he's in horde formation.
Okay.
So he does a decent amount, don't get me wrong, but as soon as he goes in, my big unit goes into his flank, and I've got a magic phase on top of that. He's already -1 res as well, res and discipline.
Unless he can chaff you with his experimental weapon team.
Unless he can do that. So there's a big march check there. And yeah, I mean, I actually do a decent. I mean, I was doing 15 or 16 per turn with my ghasts, and they are churned up if he goes in now. If he doesn't go in now, I have the opportunity to actually just go on the objective and ignore him to a certain degree. Yeah. And then it's later in the game. It'll be his turn 6. He only gets 1 or 2 turns of combat against them. I could put them on the objective and buff them up as well. So probably it looks a little bit better in my favour. So I think all the trades potentially go in my favour. But there's so much dice to be had and magic phases and things like that, then it's really hard to tell. So because we only had 10 minutes and we didn't think we'd quite get through another 2 turns.
No, definitely not.
We stopped it there, and we did talk for about 5 minutes. We talked it through, and we're like, well, dice are just too dicey.
I hate talking things through.
Yeah.
I would much rather just
if there were obvious
to an agreement
things,
and stop there. But
if there were really obvious things, I think we would have, like the arena beast all over the place. We just said, well, you get the dogs, I get the thing. Like things like that would have happened, but I don't think anything anywhere else is. is obvious, to be
No, I
honest,
agree.
because there's lots of march checks and things like that really genuinely could affect things. So we stopped it there. I did get the assassins, which was a nice little bonus.
Yeah.
And I've got a few other points, but yeah, that's how it ended. And it ended an 11-9. So I just pipped him
Sneak
on
the victory.
points, and I didn't lose too much. I lost the Spirit Host and 1 unit dogs and the Wraiths.
1 unit of dogs. How's that happen?
Yeah, right.
You weren't trying hard enough to get rid of your other unit of dogs.
Absolutely. Oh, and yeah, of course, I killed his mouse rifle as well. So, yeah. So I mean, a really good game, really fun game. Probably too much fun in regards to that with time wise. But yeah, it's good to get off to a decent start, and only 1 down on prediction, so I wasn't overly fussed in the end with that score.
Do you have your other team's scores, or should I read them out from the top because I've got them to hand?
Yeah, no. So in terms of the other team, so I got an 11-9. Hugh played Josh, and he got an 11-9 as well. So we're currently 4 up. Jake played Tanker and lost to Tanker, so we that was 14-6. So that means in our favour. But then Luke got a really big win against Wes, 17-3 there. So which sort of pipped it, which meant we were, I think, 41-39.
You were, yes.
And it
down. Yes.
So down, but pretty much a draw, which is kind of what we were saying in that we all knew each other's list pretty well.
All of the cries of fixing, putting England against each other, and then you just fixed the round 1 score. To me, you both
anyway.
ended up roughly the same.
Well, if we're going to get accused, we may as well do it, right?
Yeah. I'm annoyed that you didn't make it 40-40. To be honest,
I know. Yeah.
Someone messed up, right?
Who didn't get the memo, right?
Yeah. Well, you said you were 1 point down on your predictions, so clearly it's you.
Yeah, it's me. But yeah, no, really good game. I think, and I didn't know whether this was a good thing. I think generally against Vermin swarms, my list does pretty well.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty rare these days, or at least in the old iterations. Maybe Vermins are being brought back into line a bit.
Yeah. Not too much in the way of magical attacks, not too much in the way of magic missiles. But yeah, so interesting, but still need to play well in order to do it. So, it was nice to play. And to be fair, my last game against Vermins, I lost 20-0. So I was pleased to at least get a respectable score in this.
There you go. Yeah,
this
absolutely.
one as well. But yeah, let me know how you guys think it would have gone if we'd have played the full 6 turns, and what sort of thing, any mistakes that you think you saw in there from either player is always helpful, and what you think of the list and stuff like that. The list I don't think will change too much. There might be minor tweaks, but I think this is what's going to be in the road to ETC. So
not long away now. Yeah,
we shall see. Yeah, we shall see.
Cool. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe, give us some comments, do all your usual wonderful supporting things. We really appreciate it. We have a Patreon if you want to do that as well, because that's massive appreciation from us for that, and maybe it'll help with the Lucky Six's endless need for more headphones. So yeah, shiny blue. Let's roll into round 2. So I suppose we're 11 points apart in terms of teams. So I will enjoy being ahead of you for the time being.
Absolutely.
But yes, can we maintain it is the question.
Well, we'll see in the next one.
Were we against each other? No, it wasn't.
No,
not yet. No.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Actually, what should we say here? We drew against. We drew against Team Wales. I can't remember whether it was the Leaks or the Daffs.
Leaks.
It was the Leaks I played against. And you in round 2 were against
Rods of Battle.
Rods of Battle. Fair enough. Nice. Cool. So yeah, let's go into round 2. Coming up, folks.
See you later.